Welcome to Kiss the Reviews. I'm Armando, that's Corey, and today we're doing 1989's When Harry Met Sally. This film stars Billy Crystal as Harry Burns, Meg Ryan as Sally Albright, Carrie Fisher as Marie, and Bruno Kirby as Jess.
A couple things here. One, Carrie Fisher, another goddess on this show.
Yes.
Absolutely love her and everything she does, not just the Princess Leia shit.
Yeah.
And I do suggest reading some of her books, by the way, if you haven't before, because they're fucking fantastic. They're absolutely hilarious. Also, Bruno Kirby. Fucking love that dude, man.
I love Bruno Kirby.
He is great in all of these, like this and City Slickers.
Yeah.
Are quintessential Bruno Kirby must-watches.
Exactly.
And I know you'd be like, really? We're doing quintessential Bruno Kirby watches? But yes, we are. And it's worth it. Believe it or not. He's a fantastic actor. I absolutely love him.
Yeah.
And you know where he was really underrated was Donnie Brasco.
Yes. I totally forgot that he was in
that movie.
Yeah. He was really good. I like anything he's in. He's like the best friend, whoever the star is, he's the guy, he's the right-hand man of that guy, and he's fucking brilliant in that role.
He's like the OG Tom Sizemore.
Exactly. So let's get into this Rob Reiner classic, When Harry Met Sally. This film opens up with an old couple discussing how they met, kind of like documentary style. And these are the scenes between each of the acts.
Which I appreciated. Because if this was just a straight movie, oh my God, they would have lost me so fast.
Yeah, I like the way Rob Reiner set this up. And again, I don't know if it was him or the writer that set this all up, but how they transition. It was good transition instead of fade to black. It's now 15 years later.
You're right.
I tell you what, when the first couple comes on screen to open the movie, be honest with my initial reaction was, Jesus Christ. Like, really? Because, sometimes it's just so fucking sappy. And that's really how it starts off. It's just like, we met in 50 years. And it's like, congratulations, but also kind of go fuck yourself, you bragging assholes.
Hell yes.
And then, as it goes on, I appreciate it. Like, I found the old couples more and more adorable as we went on. Because this initial couple, I'm like, fuck yourselves.
Everything's too happy. I don't like it.
I really don't. I'm like,
I don't like it.
Tell you what, that's the other thing I learned in this movie. I think I'm Billy Crystal. I think this movie had a profound effect on me as a child.
The movie then cuts to 1977. Harry and his girlfriend are kissing before he leaves to go to New York City with her friend, Sally. So they have this long shared car ride together from the University of Chicago to New York City, which I don't know if anybody's ever made that drive, but just look at a map. That's a hell of a drive to make with somebody you've never met before. Which brings me to my next point, which is this is Billy Crystal's girlfriend in the movie. And this is like her best friend in college. How the fuck did these two never meet? Like, this is their first meeting, and it's after graduation, and they're both going off to do career things.
Right. So,
it confused me when I first saw the movie, and it still confuses me, and I never got an answer.
Yeah, no, you're 100% correct, because if they're not best friends, why are you letting some just acquaintances dude get in your car? Like, that doesn't work. It has to be your best friend's boyfriend or something like that, so that level of trust is there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm with you. That is odd that they haven't met. But also, you know how kind of people are when they get into relationships. You tend to ghost your friends after a while.
That is true. But we then get into their car ride. They're discussing their lives and who they are. Harry talks about how he's this fatalistic and dark guy. But to me, he's just being a dick. What I actually loved about this movie and how Harry's character was written in this scene, he's, you're young, full of piss and vinegar when you're, just out of college. And he's like, I'm dark and brooding and everything's fatalistic and, whatever. But you just come across as a dick. But as the movie goes on, he's still that fatalistic, dark kind of guy, but he uses humor to mask it. Like two people that I know. Which makes it, listen, if you're gonna do the dark, brooding kind of person, don't be like a douche about it. Like if you could throw some humor into it, it just makes it good for everybody. Everybody can have a little bit of a laugh and you could still get your dark side out there.
Yeah, I'm a big proponent of throwing humor into everything.
Yes.
Funerals, fucking, friends, dude. The 3 Fs, the 3 big Fs.
Yeah, anytime I'm uncomfortable, humor's always a go-to for me.
Automatic. And sometimes, even like the more tense situation, the darker the joke is going to get.
Absolutely. And the darker, the better. Let's be perfectly honest.
Typically, if you're hanging around us, it is. But yeah, I mean, we have certainly seen many people come and go who would disagree with our sense of humor.
Many. Corey and Armando are not for everybody.
We're for approximately 800 people.
They come to this conclusion on the drive that they can't be friends, and they part ways after getting to New York City.
And this is actually one area where I think Billy Crystal was close, but they just missed the mark on this monologue here. Because I think it's fantastic. The men and women can't be friends because sex always gets in the way.
Yeah.
You're half right. Most men and women can't be friends, not because of sex, but because most men and women really just want to see each other naked. And it has nothing to do with sex.
That's fair.
It's just that curiosity. Well, I wonder what that looks like under there. Has nothing to do with sex. And I think that's where a lot of people have that hang up, is you can't stop wondering and move past that curiosity and just be friends.
Flash forward to 1982. Sally and Harry randomly see each other at an airport and they share a flight together. And Sally's now in a relationship with Joe, while Harry is about to get married to a woman named Helen.
And Harry does like the most New York thing here, where two people are making out and he just walks straight up.
Like,
do
so
I fucking know this guy? This guy fucking looks familiar. Meanwhile, his tongue is all the way fucking down Meg Ryan's throat. This fantastically represented New York City.
100%. And this also reminds me of, like, if anybody's ever worked in an office or in that type of setting, or just at home when you're on the phone and somebody wants to talk to you and they just walk up and they stare at you while you're on the phone. You're like, dude, give me a fucking minute. Like, that would have been my response as Joe or Sally here would have been like, give me a fucking minute. Do you mind?
Right.
Like, that was...
What's your fucking problem, guy?
Billy Crystal, that's perfect New York, but Sally and Joe's reaction is not New York at all. Like, they're just like, oh, hey, look who it is. It's Harry. The New York reaction, the proper New York reaction would have been like, dude, mind your fucking business. So
that's how it would have started. It'd been like, yo, what the fuck? Oh, Harry. What's going on, man? I thought you were some fucking pervert. Nice to see you again, bro.
Harry, again, on this flight, explains why men and women can't be friends, and even if they're in relationships with other people. And after they land, they go their separate ways again. Cut to 1987, Sally tells her friends at lunch that she and Joe have broken up, and Marie immediately tries to hook her up with one of her, like, Rolodex of dudes that she can date or bang or whatever.
Yeah, I got a couple PSAs here real quick. Hi, kids. Uncle Corey here. I'm not judging anyone, but don't take dating advice from someone who's fucking a married person.
Just Just throwing that out there.
Just they're not going to be the answer to whatever questions you have. Just not going to work. And my second question, or my second PSA. Hi, lovers. Uncle Corey here. If you are experiencing unrequited love, don't be sad about it. Don't fucking shed tears over somebody that doesn't want to be with you. That's it. I'm not giving some like, oh, you're great. No, you probably suck in some general area, as we all do.
Yeah.
But there is somebody else who will appreciate how much you do suck. So don't cry over the ones that don't want to be with you. It's not worth your time.
So after this, while at a New York Giants game, Harry tells his friend Jess that his wife Helen has left him and they're in the process of getting separated / divorced. And it's like this whole thing.
And this is the most dude conversation ever. They don't break the wave. They're still watching the game. And they're having this deeply sad, emotional conversation. And it's just, they're still being guys in the middle of it. That is the most manly thing that happens in this entire movie.
It is, but I do have a don't do that for everybody. Hi, guys. Or girls, or whoever that likes, sporting events and events in general. Okay, you go to a concert, whatever. If you want to talk about your wife or your husband leaving you and getting a divorce, don't do it at a major event. Like, tickets, especially nowadays, like in '89, maybe not as much, but nowadays, tickets to these things are expensive.
Yeah, that's a downer.
Listen. Go to a bar, have some drinks, 2, 3, 20, and you can cry to each other about whatever the fuck is ailing you. That, I'm pretty sure, is why bars were invented in the first place. So, do it in that setting. Don't go, hey, I'll go to the Giants game with you. Cool. And then in the middle of the Giants game, be like, my wife's leaving me, and yeah, that's a good pass. That's a first down. Don't do that. Don't do any of that.
That's fair. And if I can add on to that, don't take any of your outside bullshit into a sporting event. Like your daddy issues, not a place where you're going to meet Mr. Right. Don't take that shit in there. Your mommy rage issues, don't go into a ball game to fight somebody, whether they're up for the other team or not. It's fucking stupid. Go in there to watch the fucking game. If you're with your friends, you go, hey, buddy, that was a good fucking pass. And you either high five or you're like, sucker, your team's a loser. That's it. Yes. As Armando said, take that other shit to a bar or a psychiatrist. Those are the two places where all of that shit is acceptable. Anywhere else, in public, leave it the fuck alone.
Absolutely. Harry and Sally then meet again in a bookstore. They catch up on their relationship statuses and how life is going. And they go to dinner and discuss their takes on life. And Harry's surprised to realize here that he has a woman friend and it's possible to be friends with a woman.
Yeah, and I'm going to drop this. Hi, wingman. Uncle Corey here. Marie here, played by Carrie Fisher, immediately dips out when she sees how the conversation is starting to go. Be like Marie.
Yes.
That is a dope ass. You may think playing like the cock block and I'm going to watch my friend's back is cool and shit.
Yep.
It's really not 99% of the time.
Yep. Dip out. This is a pro move.
Yes. This is how you do shit.
Afterwards, after all of this, they have late night phone conversations and there's a montage of them hanging out and going and doing stuff. They keep hanging out. They go to the park, the museum, etc. And while at the museum, Sally tells Harry that she's dating again and tells him to start dating again.
And he really shouldn't be dating because he had to ask Meg Ryan out using that peppercash voice.
Waiter, there is too much pepper on my paprikash. Would you like to go to the movies with me tonight?
If you're not prepared to ask somebody out in your own voice, you're not ready to date.
You're not ready. You're not ready. My wife would say that I'm still not ready.
Is it possible this story is true? Yes, it is.
That's how you ask to have sex, isn't it?
It is. It is.
You want to touch the peppy?
We then have the diner scene where they discuss Harry's relationships with women, and Sally fakes an orgasm at the diner to prove to Harry that women fake orgasms and he wouldn't know it. And after the fake orgasm, we get Rob Reiner's mom delivering the classic line that people have been using ever since.
I'll have what she's having.
So,
and it still holds. It's a great line. It's delivered perfectly.
The whole
it still
scene
made me laugh.
Yeah, the whole scene still holds up.
Mm-hmm.
The tag on the end of the scene is perfect.
Billy Crystal's facial expressions when he's like, "What the fuck is going on?" to when he finally realizes what she's doing.
Yes,
fantastic. And again, perfect example of New York, because he's just like, "What the fuck is?" Oh, okay.
This is what we're doing.
I get it, smart ass. All right. Doesn't give a shit. Like, it's in a big public place. Where normal people, like if you're in the Midwest, be like, "Oh my God, what are you doing? Stop." A manager would come over, "Man, we're going to need you to leave." Nobody cares. They're just all interested. Like, is this bitch really having an orgasm right now?
Yeah. And this is very New York, because you're not self-conscious about situations like this, because literally before they walked into the diner, they saw a guy in a unicorn costume take a shit in an alley. So that's literally the least strange thing you've seen all day.
Exactly.
So then we cut to a New Year's Eve party. Harry and Sally are there. They share this moment together, and they kind of let it pass because they're just friends. And I don't know if they don't want to ruin their friendship, or they're just surprised that they kind of have this moment together.
Yeah, I really like this. I like this scene a lot, because at first they're dancing and it's comfortable, and they're like, "Oh, we can dance cheek to cheek now." And then it feels really good. And then they're like, "Oh shit, this feels way too good." And this reminded me of the scene in Pulp Fiction, where Uma Thurman and John Travolta dance into the house, and they're talking about the awkward silence that follows. And they're like, "I don't know what you'd call that."
Yeah.
Perfect example of that, because they're both just like, "Oh shit."
Yeah.
It's the first way I felt when you and I danced together.
I know, me too.
That's why we have to do this remote. We're next door neighbors. We can do this show together. I can't be in the same room as this man.
The unfortunate scene is if we did this show together, it'd be naked, and that's not good for anybody. It then cuts to dinner. Harry tries to match Sally with Jess, and Sally tries to match Harry with Marie. The matches don't go well at all. There's this horrible, just awkward dinner together, and then Marie and Jess have sparks that fly when, they start talking about his writing and yada yada, and they end up together and they start to date.
By the way, if you want to make me fall in love with you ever, do what Marie here does to Jess and quote me to me. Because that is exactly how you get a writer's heart.
I'll be honest, during this scene when I watched it, and he goes, "I've never had anybody quote me to me," I immediately thought of you. And I was like, when the book comes out, I'm totally reading it, and I'm going to quote you to you, just so you feel special.
Dude, I'll be flying so high. I'll be like the unicorn guy taking a shit. I'll just fly away after it's done.
It then cuts to 4 months later. Harry and Sally are shopping for gifts for Jess and Marie's wedding when they bump into Harry's ex-wife, and it's awkward to say the least, and it fucks Harry up.
I'm not sure I ever met the guy who was fucking my ex-wife at the time. But I would like to think that if I knowingly met him, I wouldn't be shaking his hand.
Yeah.
This is one of those grown-up moments that I'm not built for.
I'm not built for that either.
This is why I don't think I could hold a job.
Yeah.
Because he's really cool up front and he's starting to boil over, but still he's just like, "Oh, nice to meet you. How are you?" All that bullshit. And, if she was like, "Hi, Harry. The fuck are you doing talking to me?"
So, on the tail of that, I have a don't do that for everybody. Hi, peoples out there. Divorcees. Exes all around. If you see your ex And it didn't end well, which 9.5 times out of 10, it didn't end well. That's why it ends. So if you see them out, just walk by like you never saw the person. Don't walk up and go, oh, I'm so proud of the lady or the dude that I'm banging now, so I'm going to come up and try to rub shit in your face. And don't do any of that. It's a dick move. You left that person in the dust. Go live your fucking life. And if you come up in my face, I'm going to say some shit to you and I'm going to punch him right in the dick. That's what's happening next. Because
accurate.
I'm not built for that either.
Yeah, this whole scene they did a fantastic job from a filmmaking perspective.
Yep.
Making this awkward as fuck and just uncomfortable. And you really feel like they make it seem like Billy Crystal throughout this movie kind of has everything figured out. You know, he's a smart cynic and he's not really worried about too much, right? If it happens, it happens. Kind of expects disappointment. Shout out Spider-Man No Way Home. So they make it seem like he's really the one together. Meg Ryan's kind of flighty and she's real uptight and kind of a wet blanket a lot of the times. But as it turns out, she's really not. She just doesn't like him.
Yeah.
He's a dick. And then he's a depressed dick, which is, speaking as a person who has been a depressed dick, the worst kind of human being to be around if you are not another depressed dick. It's so horrible.
Listen, everybody, the worst kind of dick is a depressed dick. Nobody wants that. Literally or figuratively, nobody wants that.
No,
if you've ever seen a depressed dick, it's just like, nobody likes that. Later, we see that Sally is now dating Julian. Harry is dating Emily. They go to, the game night, the friends game night. And at said game night, Harry and Sally immediately start talking shit about the other one's date to their friend at the bar, which, again, for a rom-com, and I'm not like a huge fan of rom-coms because there's so many, just like horror movie, there's so many cliches that are just, it's got this, we have to put this in the movie, we have to put this, but this thing and their relationship together and then them having that moment together and now they're like seeing other people and them going to their, respective friends and talking shit about the other one's date is so true to life.
Yes.
That it made me laugh. And just the way the whole scene is shot is fantastic. I loved everything about that whole scene.
Yeah, if you have a friend of the opposite sex or the same sex that you think may be attracted to you and may want more from you, or vice versa, you can literally watch this movie and pick up the signs that they are most definitely displaying.
Yep.
In everyday action and be like, oh yeah, or no, I just had that all wrong.
Yep.
But this is a fucking blueprint.
Yes. 100%.
It's unbelievable. And it turns out most of the people that I've dated fucking hated me.
Then in the next scene, Sally calls Harry in the middle of the night after she finds out that her ex-boyfriend Joe is getting married. Harry goes over to her apartment to comfort her and they end up having sex.
Which is literally the only way Meg Ryan is fucking Billy Crystal.
100%.
Is because she's an emotional fucking wreck.
As much as I love this movie, there is no fucking universe. There's no Spider-Verse where this is where Meg Ryan and Billy Crystal are a thing. Listen,
no, dude.
You can love Billy Crystal and think he's hilarious and his stand-up is funny and he's a funny actor. He's a funny dude. Funny only gets you so far. You have to have some looks. Like,
yeah. You know who sleeps with Meg Ryan's? Dennis Quaid's and Russell Crowe's. Not Corey Idles and Billy Crystal's. That's not how it works, kids. And humor gets you far. Believe me, it makes up for a lot of shortcomings.
It does.
But it doesn't make you a fucking marathon runner, bro.
neither one of them, after they have sex, know how to handle this whole change in their relationship, and they share that it was a mistake to sleep together over dinner.
Yes, and I love the scene too right after they do sleep together, because they've had this conversation.
Yes.
And this is an important thing to like really keep in mind. As a matter of fact, hi everybody dating a friend who like trips from the friend zone into dating or fucking. Listen to what they have said in the past, because just because you and your magic private parts have entered their lives does not necessarily mean they are changing any aspect of who they are.
Yep.
And this is the fatal mistake, is she's like cuddling and she likes to be held all night and he wants to get out of there. And they have both completely forgotten that that's who the other person is.
Yes. Yeah.
Just the look of terror on his face, knowing that he is desperately trying to get out of there.
Yeah.
And really kind of like that's fucked up, because he's only done that with strangers.
Yes.
Up until this point. Those are all one night stands. There's no real interest.
Yeah.
Hit it and quit it. And he's treating her the exact same way.
Yeah.
Immediately after sex. If you're a woman, I would imagine that is a fairly gut-wrenching scene.
I would imagine.
And if you're a man, that's a fairly relatable scene.
Yes.
Because that's just a natural reaction. If you've been I don't care what habit you have in life, if you have been doing something for X amount of years, that's going to continue to go. It takes a while to break a habit.
You're right again.
Harry and Sally then, over like the next 3 weeks or so, they grow apart. And at Jesse and Marie's wedding, they have it out. They have a huge fight, and she smacks the shit out of him in the kitchen.
Let me ask you a question before you go too much further.
Yeah.
What is it about people in sort of relationships, on again, off again, pseudo relationships, having big blow up fights at people's weddings?
I don't know.
You seem like a guy that would know, though.
You know what? I would seem like a guy that would know. And I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, okay. Sure. We'll play that game.
I was just going to say, we'll pretend that was a thing. Harry then calls Sally a few times to apologize, but she never answers. He keeps leaving her messages, and she finally answers, and he apologizes and invites her to a New Year's Eve party, which she says no to.
She's done. She is completely over him and his bullshit.
Yep.
And if I'm correct, was it at the wedding where he compared her to being a dog?
Yes.
You know how a year to a person is like 7 years to a dog?
Yes. Is one of us supposed to be a dog in this scenario?
Yes.
That should be like the number one don't do that of this show.
100%.
And it just don't compare anyone
to an animal,
a dog, when they've expressed some sort of feeling or emotion to you.
Yeah.
That's what they call in the big leagues dismissive.
Yes.
And it never goes well.
I would venture to say, tagging on to that, not just a dog, just like any animal, really. So New Year's Eve comes. Billy Crystal's alone. He's roaming the streets of New York. He's reflecting on his relationship with Sally over the years and realizes in this, little montage of flashbacks that he loves Sally, and he runs to the New Year's Eve party and tells her that he loves her.
Hi, kids. Uncle Corey here. Cars, buses, subways exist for a reason. And let me explain why in this grand running gesture he's making here, while in reality, this wouldn't work, okay? When you run a significant distance without stopping to have a drink of water, your mouth tends to get dry. Some people develop little cum stains in the corners of their mouths when they get especially thirsty. That is not going to help sell your case in your grand romantic gesture. Be an adult, hop on some form of 20th century fucking transportation, and get the fuck to the place. Then do your thing with a
Yeah.
nice, fresh, clean mouth. Maybe pop in some gum or a mint beforehand because you know you're going to be going for the kiss. And proceed with whatever you were going to do.
Yeah.
But this whole, like, I'm running, the other problem with that is nobody sees it.
Yes.
There is no grand gesture there because nobody's paying attention to your grandeur. You fucking idiots.
My only thought during this scene was, motherfucker, you ain't Tom Cruise. Stop running. The fuck you running for? He professes his love to her here. They kiss and they later get married. And we hear about their marriage and their wedding when they're the couple on the couch talking about how they met in said documentary.
And if I were them, I'd be looking around while I was sitting in the waiting room waiting to be filmed going, yo, why the fuck are all these geriatric Golden Corral eating motherfuckers coming in here?
And then us.
You got us? How fucking old do you think I am, asshole? My hair ain't that far back.
If I'm Billy Crystal, I'm super offended.
Ridiculously pissed.
Yes. He's like, I'm 35. The director's like, oh, motherfucker, I thought you were 65. My bad.
Yeah, their first question when they were filming this was, so when did you find out your husband was a millionaire?
Hell yes.
I've said it earlier, and I'll say it again. I'm not a huge fan of rom-coms.
Yeah.
But this one really does it right.
100%.
Rom-coms today are, I mean, they're almost caricatures of them of themselves. Like it's become, I don't know, they've just become more and more goofy, and all rom-coms have turned into Hallmark movies.
Yes.
Where it's like, yeah, big city girl goes to the small city to see the thing, but she's a big executive. And then it's every rom-com now. Like, this was a true look at people's relationships, not even just between men and women, but just how people think and how they shot and wrote the interactions between all of the characters was brilliant. I liked it. It was genuinely funny. And Billy Crystal is a funny dude.
Oh, he's fantastic.
So, like, the only thing in this entire movie that I was like, come on, is the fact that Billy Crystal and Meg Ryan hook up at the end.
Sure. Which we've covered ad nauseum on this show. That's just Hollywood.
Yes, exactly. So,
Yeah,
but
that's the only way guys like me get girls like that is if we write it in a movie.
Yes.
So that explains all of that. But yeah, no, I couldn't agree with you more. I thought this was fantastic, and going through, I haven't seen this literally in decades.
Yeah.
Because as we discussed, rom-coms aren't really what I search out to watch for in my free time.
Yeah.
Nothing against them, just not my cup of tea. So having sat through a handful of current movies, rom-coms through the 2010s, early 2000s, late 90s, this was actually refreshing.
Yeah.
For as old as it is.
Yep.
Because it was very different. I think that's why it stands the test of time and why it is still talked about and quoted and thought about as that kind of quintessential rom-com, is because it was so different. And even with the cliches in it, they're hidden or disguised in comedy or in comedic situations where it's not so fucking glaringly obvious.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely, as far as a rom-com goes, I love this movie. If you haven't seen it and your girl hasn't seen it, your partner hasn't seen it, and that's kind of the movie they're into, dude, suggest this. You're going to be a fucking hero.
You were right.
And I was just surprised that it was, when I saw that it came out in 1989, it kind of shocked me because I thought it came out much later than that. Like, I thought it was like early to mid, I mean, it was close to early 90s, but like 94-ish.
That's what I thought it was as well. And even for as old as it is, it's really not that dated.
No, not at all.
It's not like some of the clothes, but by and large, that's not even like it's not like Pretty in Pink's ridiculous costumes
Yes.
that are just, like they're so part of that movie.
Yeah.
The clothes don't mean shit in this movie. You don't pay attention
Exactly.
to them. It's not important.
Yep. But other than that, that's all I got. What movies do we have coming up, sir?
Coming up, we got Life, Eddie Murphy, Martin Lawrence. I'm so excited for this movie.
Yep.
So excited to do this movie. And I feel like it's apropos considering we literally just covered the whitest movie in America. But
Yes.
we have Clerks coming up. We got Toy Soldiers coming up. Training Day, Secret of My Success. And then we get back into some more of our action movies with Double Impact. Jean-Claude Van Damme. Dude, we are getting paid to go through the JCVD entire catalog. And let me tell you guys, life is good.
Yes. Yes,
it's pretty fantastic.
Quick question. I don't know if you know the answer to this. Is the JCVD movie, is that a Universal movie? Because if so, we might have to go to still shots again, which will be fun.
Yeah. I think that's a fair, hi, requesters. Uncle Corey here. If you're going to request a movie and it's from Universal, there's a chance you're going to be disappointed in the overall video quality, considering it's going to be pictures and old-timey stuff.
Yes, exactly.
We're working 19th century kind of technology when it comes to Universal, which is, ironically, the last time they were relevant.
You were correct. It's fact.
Well, with that said, we can shit on Universal later, too. For Corey, I'm Armando. This is Kiss the Reviews, and this was 1989's When Harry Met Sally.